Hey, welcome to my video. We're going to go over the Widgeon sailing dinghy's rigging, my cheap poor man's version of the autopilot, the dagger board operation, and how the Vang works. First, the standing rigging. Here's the forestay and the two shroud lines. They have turnbuckles on the end so you can tighten them down. There is no backstay on this boat. Here is the halyard for the jib. The mast itself is pretty lightweight, slides down into a slot. It'll only fit in there one direction. The boom slides right down in pretty easily. There are a couple of shackles I have here up front to attach the jib, and then we got some brass hanks to connect it to the shroud line. The jib sheets run back from the jib down through the fair lead and then to the center where there's a couple of cam cleats. You're going to want to make sure your sail is all the way up as high as it'll go before you cleat off your boom. If you don't, your boom's going to be low and you don't want it. You want it as high up as you can. So make sure it's all the way up and then go ahead and cleat it off on the cleat that's attached to the mast. Here is my poor man's version of an autopilot. It is just a red 30-inch bungee cord. I put one loop around the tiller and it just hooks underneath the boat, as you'll see here. It's very helpful if you got to let go of the tiller when you're out on the water. I'm going to go over how the dagger board operates. It operates on a push-pull sort of system. While you're pushing on one side, it will pull in the other, either raising or lowering the dagger board. Here I'm going to pull on the line. It will tighten the line on the front of the dagger board, raising it. Now I'm going to push backwards. It'll loosen the line in the front and tighten the line in the rear, and that line in the rear will lower it, and then you go ahead and just cleat it off. This rear block is pulled back as far as it can. That means it's tight. This front block is pushed forward as far as it can, making it loose. That means the dagger board at this point is down. There's a little dead end right there. That should not be pulled back to the cleat. People make that mistake a lot, and it'll just tighten both the lines at the same time. So there, that line, the block has moved forward, and if you look here, I have the front line. That block has moved as far back as it can, so the front line is tight. When the front line is tight, the dagger board is up, and when the rear line is tight, then the dagger board is down. That's cleated off. There's the dead end right there. Do not pull on that. Just let it be a dead end, and that'll solve a lot of frustration there for a lot of people. Here's my boom, and this is how I've got my main sheet rigged. And then I put a little block up here for the outhaul to make it easier. You don't need a block. You could just tie the sail off down there. People do that, but I like to be able to adjust it. Here's that set up out on the water. There's my outhaul line. It comes into a cleat right there on the center, and then as you go forward, there's where the Vang connects right there. That little line leads down to the pulley system, or block system, I guess I should say, since we're sailing. There is a swivel cam cleat for the main sheet, which just goes up and to the back of the boom and then back down. I just have a simple bridle that I use. It's just a piece of 550 cord, just because it's the easiest way, in my opinion, to rig it. There's definitely other ways to rig it though if you want to find some diagrams online. Alright, I've got my Vang disconnected from my boom. As you can see, it's kind of, the boom has a upward angle to it from the mast. And there's a Vang laying down there. It has a little ball on it. The end just slips into the slot there. And you go ahead and tighten it up. So I'm going to, the Vang's tight right now, and I'm going to go ahead and loosen it up real quick and then tighten it and then loosen it back up. And you can see that the angle of the boom will change as in reference to the mast. What you need the Vang for, it controls the leach and gives your sail better shape when you're on a run or a reach. Normally you don't need to use the Vang when you're on a close reach because the main sheet has enough pressure to keep the boom held in place. And the other end of the Vang just attaches down here at the base of the mast. Here is my little autopilot system in action, steering the boat by itself. I would highly recommend using a bungee like this on these boats. There are going to be times when the jib sheets, when they cross over, are going to get tangled up in those cleats up front. And if you're going to single-handed sail, it'll be a lot less frustrating to be able to take your hand off the tiller for a little bit without the boat going totally berserk. Also, I think that the tiller in general just has a better feel to it when it has a little bit of resistance versus not having anything. The boat sailing wing to wing here, kind of on its own. Very little adjustment needed to kind of keep itself on a fairly straight path. On the rear of the boat, on the transom, there are some numbers. If you look really closely at them, you can't see these very well, but the last two numbers say 74, and that's the year of the boat. So if you want to know what year your boat is, that's how you do it. I mostly sail out of the Crystal Sailing Club that's located in Crystal, Michigan. It's located in the central part of Michigan. Well, that's it. Hopefully this has been helpful. Have a good day.